Okay, so I'm gonna go to the what do you call it, to the group to read your post because you had a good, it was so interesting because I didn't plan. I knew I planned my live, but it's lives are so like random how they go, and I started it at um 6 in the morning, and I've been in my car from six to till now, and then I went to the grocery store to get something so I could take a bathroom break. So that live was very like really unexpected the way it went. Let me read the comment that you
It was so good. Shameless, your personality, it's so beautiful. I love how it shines through. I was like, I'm doing this in my own way. Like, like I just want to come out like that. I just love it. You have a beautiful way of being with them. And I even wrote down some of the compliments I gave you. I know you were hosting the live, but can I share them while you're reading, Shameless, to
Oh,
jog your
sure.
memory? Okay. So, Milena, it was a live about do all men cheat. I don't know if you're in there, but so many things. It like brought up so many things. Some She had one main guy in the chat, and two guys came in. They were saying, basically complimenting how beautiful her spirit and her niceness is. This guy was like, "Your spirit is so beautiful," and he said, "Don't ever change it. You're great. You're just loving it." And this other guy was like, "I hear the happiness, joy in your voice, and it's obvious you'd be a great wife." Oh my God, James, he was killing it. I want to bring out my star fire. I want to bring out my like inner light, like for all to see, like that. That's what I was like, ooh, that's it. Um, yeah, I mean, you're reading the my message also, and then the live being about yeah, Ula goddess, yes, yes. Um, do all men cheat? That was healing for me because I think I realized no, they don't. And I think as you become higher and more healed, you attract differently. And then I wanted to talk also about how do I become emotionally available. I mean, I put it in the group, yada yada yada.
Yeah, so I was gonna okay, so your thing seven like around 40 minutes ago, Shameless, that was a really great live. Thank you. You are so great. I thank you. I have so many things I want to talk about in this class today. Number one, I want you to help me bring out my personality. I love how your personality shine, inspiring something in me. How do I bring it out? Get my spark back. I want help with that. I want to talk about the findings on the topic of your life today. I feel like it's helpful for me. How do I become emotionally available? How do I know if I'm not emotionally available? I want to do a goddess relationship walkthrough, meaning I want to talk about scenarios and what it might look like and how it responds in her demeanor from getting the number all the way through marriage. I like to talk about that. Some questions, maybe that would be answered in the walkthrough. What if a man takes a week to call her? What does she do? What if she hasn't heard from a man in a while? How often should she be going on dates with the man? How would she structure her week around dating and her other priorities? What would that look like? How often is she going on dates? How should the man be acting on dates? How long should I'm sure she's talked about on the phone with a man per week? How often should she be texting? So the logistics. So first, like let's tackling the live stream about the person. Now, mind you, I've been um I've been doing lives consistently over a year. Okay, and so I have a lot of practice and a lot of like
I don't know if you're still talking. It went
You
out.
went out.
Oh, for real out. What's up, Milena?
Hey,
Yeah.
I called you yesterday.
Oh yes, I mean to. I did not.
oh my bad. I don't know. I missed you. I think when I went on some other page, it took me out. So I don't know if you were talking, but
Yeah,
what I want you to know, what I want you to
we were
know
just
about the
looking for you.
lives that you were looking for me. I was telling you about the live. I do lots of live where I hit a lot of misses to catch that home run. If that makes sense.
Well, when you started in the beginning, were you this personable and lively? I'm gonna send you
That's what
my
I'm saying. That's
yeah.
what I'm saying. No, no. That's what I'm saying. I've been doing this a lot. No, no, I haven't. Like I'm used to doing lives sometimes 18-hour days, not on purpose, but just talking and I can have less than 10 people. I'm used to doing lives if people show up, if they don't. So I was pleasantly surprised. Did you see the people in that room? It went around from 50 to 100, kept going back and forth. But
Yeah.
I'm used to doing lives 10 or less people. When I do the positive topics, it's about spiritual topics around 5 to 10 people. But when I do topics that involve controversial stuff, then I get around 50 to 100. So I have a lot of hours. So what you're used to me doing is kind of like I was expecting that live to be an hour, but then it went serendipitous. It went longer because we were having a good conversation. So my thing for you is you would just have to put in a lot of hours, and then your baseline would be okay. I'm just going to show up for this amount of time. Your expectations are really low, and you'll be pleasantly surprised. I think that's how you'll have your own way of people seeing your personality is just showing up consistently, regardless of who shows up.
Well, I'm at 0. So I don't know, my phone is still going. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going. I figure it's really I was thinking that it's really good that I have 0 because I wouldn't want anybody sitting on there. But I also think that I would act differently if there were people on there. So
Yeah,
anyway.
you will act differently, obviously, because you're interacting with different energies. But yeah, Melena, I think, just like, I think Melena, TikTok is like Facebook to me. Like you're on like a different platform. So I just think like it's just a personality thing. But my goal though is to have that type of live stream dynamic in my own house. Can you imagine without me having to worry about being censored? That would be chef's kiss. That would be the goal, is to have that type of live stream in my own, in one of the rooms on this app versus on TikTok, because I always have in the back of my mind I gotta like make sure people are playing by the rules because they're very sensitive over there. But the thing about the God is structuring about how you want a man, that's all individual based off your personality, because I can give you a general but it can be too strict for you. But what the thing that I
General is
wanted
good
to,
though.
huh?
General is good though. Like I don't expect it to be so tailored to, my thing, but like a general picture of what it
A
might look
direct,
like.
okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, like a staple chocolate chip cookie recipe, then you can add your own stuff to. I
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like what was I about to say? It was about the live stream that we were having. Oh yeah, so the topic was kind of infused from what you said, where you sent me a message about something, or we
Hmm.
had like a video you shared. It was either some one of those.
Hmm.
But what I realized, I did lives and people shared something similar. And so the question really wasn't if all men cheat. It was, if all men cheat, are you emotionally unavailable? But some of the men that are like sensitive, like they just saw the first half. But what you real I don't know how long you were in the live, because it went on multiple hours. Several men said they've never cheated. And they weren't being funny. I can tell they literally confirmed what I told you, ladies. I said it's in them. It's literally in them. It's a character trait. Like it's not something you can nag a man into or guilt him to be faithful. He just is faithful regardless of who he's with. That's just a part of his character.
Yeah.
And literally, when the women in the live stream saw that, more and more of them came. Like, I literally thought it was very healing for the women to see men that are conventionally attractive be faithful. It's easy for somebody who doesn't want you to be faithful, but to have men that you can tell they're still in their prime say, like, I don't do that, and this is why. And some of the men shared that they were cheated on, which is what my experience has been for men who, because I shared a story of a old friend, a used to be friend. We were best friends, but we had a falling out. But during the good periods, one her husband shared prior to them getting together that he had experienced infidelity before, and I was shocked because he's conventionally attractive, but he was very faithful to the former friend of mine. And so I have multiple experience with men being faithful, right? So I literally feel it's a character trait. And so I saw the switch in the women in the live stream when they literally saw multiple men come up and up and up and up saying that, they don't do this. And it was kind of like similar to, and it's interesting, we literally talked about this yesterday about how you need proof that men are faithful, just like you have proof that men cheat. The way you get rid of that thought is getting proof that, and then my life, and it happened. I literally feel like the
Yeah.
universe is like talking to me, because it's like, this is like 3 for 3. Yes, yes. And I found that blonde woman and I put her in the group, the one about the support. It was serendipitous. I was like, here's a video. I went to her page because I saw her talking about something else. I was like, oh, let me go to her page and find that video that she was talking about. And I laughed like I watched it for the first time. She's like, how come you did not tell your parents about me? You know how I grew up when I was coming up. You know the trauma. And he's like, you're right. And I was just so she's getting ready to get married. I think he proposed to her. I didn't catch up. I was laughing. I was like, this never gets old. I need nutritional support. I need a personal assistant support. It was just, she said it so straight laced. And the way she said it, I'm not overhyping. You see it for yourself. The way she just says it, like, it's just an automatic, like, what are you talking about?
That's
And
what I
so,
want to be like talking about, like the goddess walkthrough. How do I be like that?
Did you
Like
see the
that?
video in the group?
Yeah. Well, I watched it before
Okay.
the first time you showed it, but like,
Oh,
I
I did
think
show her the
Melina,
last time. Okay, I didn't know if I showed it the before.
yeah,
Okay,
no,
my
you can
bad.
keep sharing it. But I think Melina also, like, we want to be that bold, and like, I want to know, what date do I ask for that? You know what I mean? Like, I want to know, like, when do I bring stuff up? And yeah,
Yeah, and
Melina.
mind you, she didn't tell you. I didn't tell you the whole thing. So when the guy could not help her pay her rent, she stopped talking to him.
That's what I'm
She
talking about.
literally said she literally did a timeline of their beginning into their current situation. And she's like, I haven't been working for a year, right? So in the middle of the relationship, he couldn't afford her rent. So she said, matter of fact, I just stopped talking to him because one of my requirements is that he help me pay my bills. And I need, like, my rent is like $3,000. Newport Beach, which is a very affluent area in Orange County, one of the most expensive areas. That's where Kobe Bryant and his family lived before he passed. And so I think like altogether her bills is like 5 G's. And he said when he didn't stop it, so when he got his money together, she started dating him again. She gives me like I Love Lucy vibe. She's just so comical without even trying it. And I love and share her videos, but I don't comment because I don't want her to be conscious of it. But I'm just really laughing. She was just talking about, yeah, and she just says it so matter of fact, like she is in her own Delulu world. She's like, he couldn't afford it for whatever reason, and that's not my problem. She's like, ladies, you need to not feel sorry for this, guys. He needs to work better with his planning. That's what she said. She said he needs to work better. I don't know. I was like, wow, it must be nice. And that's what other culture of women, they're socialized. Like, they don't care about your sob story. And that's literally what she did. And that dude is still, and I think she's like, wedding dress shopping or whatever. Anyways, so I just want you ladies to understand, like, I'll give you a baseline, but when it comes to dating a guy, you want to see him no more than twice a week until he's your person. If he wants to see you more, he needs to marry you. You need to not text him too much because you want to incentivize him to take you out. You don't want to be available. So to answer your question about are you emotionally available, you're emotionally available based off the beliefs you have about men. Now, I'm not saying everything you have is positive. You can have some insecurities about men. But for the most part, if I told you, hey, Feline, there are great men in the world, and they're men that are faithful and they're good in bed, and they'll cook you and make you some nice soup when you're sick, or go to CVS to get you your feminine products, and you type in the comments, where are they at? That's a sign that you're emotionally unavailable. But if you say, you know what, that's so awesome. I haven't had the best luck, but I'm really, faithful and and future minded, I'm really looking forward to meeting my person like that. Then that'll be me, that you're emotional. So it's all about like how confident are you that you can meet your person. And lastly, the initiatives you came to your from your intuitions, from your download, are you implementing it? Are you putting yourself out there? Are you taking space? Because if you have a goal to meet somebody and your actions are not in alignment with your goal, that's another sign that you might not be as emotionally available as you think. Like, for example, I told you ladies just yesterday that I would love to do stuff where I meet my person based off my personality, right? Like, obviously looks is cool and all, but because they find me on a post, they read something and they said that is so insightful, and then they go through a black hole of trying to binge watch whatever I got. Now, I kind of had a BBL today because one of the people in the box was literally saying that, and I wasn't even
I
thinking, I wasn't
mean,
even
more than one. More than
more than
one was
I
saying
know.
it, Shameless. I was just like, this is fucking how you do it. I was like, go out there, be a birds before landing. For me, Shameless, I was like, this is how you do it. I was like, teach me your magic. Yeah, it was lovely to watch. I loved it.
Thank you, Fly. And it's interesting. You just came out of the woodwork because I started earlier in the morning, like 7 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, and that fella came out like out of the woodwork. He's a mutual, but he came to my life once, but I don't see him come like to this platform a lot. And so I was talking about women, right, and holding them accountable and stuff. And then he said he loved what I was talking about, and then got in the box, and he stayed on and in the box, for the majority of the time, for the majority of the live. And it wasn't, and I would, my demographic isn't men, so like I always get pleasant surprise where men feel like very adamant that they want to feel heard and talk about it when it's not about them. Like, you're not my desired demographic.
No, I
But it's
attracted
just
that. I came right at the right time. I knew that was a call for my own spirit answered. But yeah, that was happening. Sorry to interrupt you, but that was happening, and it was a good man. Like, I don't know that man from Adam, obviously, but like it was a
yeah,
great
he's a he's a
example of what you were
he's
saying.
a he's a he's a good looking guy. He's not my type. When I mean like not my type, like I have an aesthetic, but he's an attractive guy and has a deep voice. And me, I flirt like a child. I mean, I don't literally think twice. Like, if I see something, I don't like strategize too much. I just like it, I get the feedback and I set it out. And just like with you ladies, where you do something great, I give you compliments. And I was just telling him that the first time he came to my life, I heard his voice. I was like, "Ooh, you got a deep voice on you." Like, I didn't even think about it. I just literally thought it and just spilled out. He's like, "Oh, word." And I was just like, his voice is hecka deep. I was like, my daddy had a big deep voice like that. I don't come across it. It literally like just took my. But if people aren't used to a women giving you compliments, you can take it like I'm flirting. I guess I could be, but it's literally nothing more to it. I'm not gonna go into your DM and say, "Hey, sir, what you doing tomorrow night?" It's literally, I just thought of it and stuff. So when he came back, I was like, "Who is this fella?" Like, I follow him, but I don't recognize. He changed his profile picture, and then when I heard his voice, which is very distinct, I was like, "I remember you. You're the guy I said sounds like Pop Smoke. Yeah, you're the one who's an author that has multiple books and multiple businesses, right?" He's like, "Yeah, that's me." I was like, "I haven't seen you in a while." So he was really cool. Like, again, I don't know him either from a can of paint, but based off what he was sharing, what I noticed was he was more vulnerable in this live stream than in the other live stream. He was just talking about all this personal stuff. And I was like, where was this guy at the other live? I was like, is it because you don't have your photo in the profile picture? You feel more comfortable getting open? And he said, it's because usually men like need to like assess you for a minute for them to like get comfortable. And we were just having a good live with all the people in the thing, but it just reminds you, like, I literally just say hypothetically that was to be like a love connection, just say hypothetically, I literally was in my, I would be in the, the comfort of my car because I have a sleep driving issue. So I have this habit where I sleep a little bit in my car till I have enough energy to drive. But sometimes I oversleep than what I expected, which is what happened today. But I literally was in my car, and I don't, it's like it's an energetic thing, if that makes sense. I spoke about a topic that was on my mind, and the words compelled this man to come to a live that's woman oriented. I'm just saying hypothetical, I'm not saying it's, but I was just trying to tell you ladies, it really is that simple. Like, I didn't plan it this way. We literally spoke about this yesterday when I was watching my mother and my sister and her husband. They stay with her full time, and so when they she's expecting her second child and stuff. So when I was in the baby's room, that used to be my room before I moved out, and and I remember I literally was talking to this lady, that to you ladies, like, it would be great to attract somebody just to prove to women who want to use an excuse that they don't like doing dating apps or going to these events. It would be nice to show that you can literally attract a great person by just socializing, and your personality is enough, and then your looks is just icing on the cake. And it was just so ironic that that kind of happened today, like a birds before landing. But I'm just trying to tell you ladies, it works. If it really works. We literally said this yesterday. I need He needs to work better with his what? He needs to work with his what? What do you mean? I thought you
You were
were
telling
about
us
to
the
tell
story
us.
of that white lady. You said he needs to work better with
Oh,
his.
work on his financial planning.
Oh,
Because she was
gosh,
telling her audience that you shouldn't feel sorry about a man that's going through financial difficulty.
got it.
Because she literally dropped him unapologetic, like, when he couldn't pay my bills, we broke up for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Wow.
don't see that with Black women too much. It's a different topic. I just find her
Because
so
we're taught
hilarious.
that we're not the preference. So,
But if
that's,
you notice, she's an attractive lady, but I think she added some weight over time. But she acknowledged that's something she wants to work on, but at the same time she has this kind of invisible foundation that she's still worthy of love, irregardless of like what she's working on, any insecurity she has. Like, in that video that I shared in the group, the way she positioned it to her partner, she's like, yeah, you see that I need nutritional support, personal fitness support. So she has some insecurity. She's aware that she wants to work on her fitness, because I remember when I first followed her, she wasn't as her size. But even though she's her size, the way her body shape is, it carries well. You don't even see it unless she shows the full version. That's usually when she does live streams. I didn't even know she was that a plus size woman until, like, I saw her do like a full length thing, because she has, her face doesn't do that. But even regardless, even though she's not exactly where she wants to be, she still has this invisible foundation that a man is lucky to have her. And I think that's very commendable, because I feel like if
yeah,
more women would just adapt, even if you have acne, if you got hair issues, if you got if whatever the things you think is not good enough, and you have to delay meeting your person until that situation is rectified. I feel more Black women have that mentality, like, I do want to work on this, but I'm still worthy to have a man's in my life at the moment.
yes.
And what I love is that I think a lot of Black women, because of TikTok, I think a lot of it is just because of TikTok, are changing the way they move. I'm seeing it happen like on the daily. So I think in a year, like it'll be very obvious. A lot of Black women are now moving like that. Like I'm worth this. I know my worth, and I just love to see it. I'm so grateful. Every app has its drawbacks. Every bit of social media has like a negative side, but I love how this kind of revolution is happening amongst Black women, and how they date and move. It's really nice to see.
Likewise, yes, 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 yes. So, regarding scenarios about a man asking for your number, what I will say is, Like if a guy asks you for your number, don't, if he gives you his number and you don't, and in your gut you don't like it, like you're like, what is he doing? Tell him, like, what are you doing? Like, you're asking me to take your number? Like, master like how to speak in live time versus freezing, because remember how you start the dynamic is how you, that's going to be what you're maintaining. Just like when you accept a job offer, it's always wise to negotiate the best salary, because that's what you're going to be moving off of for your raises, right? So how a man approaches you and what you accept from the beginning is what you're going to be moving as your foundation through the dynamic of your relationship, if you choose to be in a relationship. So if a man approaches you and his intention isn't to come off like a creep, so he suggests you take his number. If you feel in a pit of your stomach like you don't like that, be like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I want you to take my number. If a line, I feel like you're really good at being very diplomatic, I assessed that from you in the beginning. So identify if you feel ways, if a man asks you to take his number down because he might be shy and kind of had a negative experience with women, like think he's a creep. So he gives the number to you so you don't, so you feel like you have some form of control. So identify if that's something that you can take or go. If you don't like it, tell him, like, practice, be like, no, here's my number, you can call me, here's my number. And in your mind, if he doesn't call you within 2 days, forget about him. No, he's not emotionally available. Or you put him in the bucket C, meaning he has to really to make work to impress you, for you to make him a contender. So if you're bored and you realize that he took more than 2 days to get to you, you can still date him, but you put him in a category where he's just for practice. You're not taking him seriously because he didn't take you seriously.
Okay, and then like, if we are taking someone seriously, like, what kind of questions do I have? Like, well, are you gonna keep going? I have questions like, on the first date, should we accept a gift? I mean, should we expect a gift? Like, should a guy come with a gift? Like, I kind of feel like he should come with
You
flowers.
can you can expect a lot of stuff, but some people are trained and some people are raised by wolves. You don't know. You're dealing with the consequences of the type of women he dates. So if he's been dating high quality women, back in the day, they had fathers that would tell them, that would prep them for their dates and guide them and get flowers, but that's missing. So you can you can be a goddess and be like, yeah, here's my number, and when you coordinate the date and you both confirm the date, say, you say, I would like, what I find very attractive, romantic, is you can be indirect or direct. I'm neurodivergent, so I'm going to be direct, because I can't be mad that someone disappoints me if I didn't articulate what I want from them.
I
Some women
prefer
feel like
direct.
they should, huh?
I prefer direct.
Okay, so some women say like they shouldn't have to spell it out, they shouldn't have to raise. I'm like, okay, all right, go Susie, go be at peace. Like, okay. But for me, I'd be like, I'm feeling really attractive. My favorite flowers are XYZ flowers, and I would like, or can you go get me some AirPods at Best Buy? You can do like a little test to see if he's stingy. Now he says, nah, sure, you can do that. I'd be like, okay, never mind, I don't want to go on a date with you. And he's like, really? Because I can't buy, AirPods? I was like, yep, gotta go. So you can tell him that what you like, that you prefer for him to get you a car service, because you don't want to drive on the first date, and you also, until you guys get to know each other, you don't feel comfortable knowing where you live. You can explain that. Now you might get blessed and get a man who's like, he's like, hello, duh, isn't that obvious? Okay, then that means you hit a unicorn. You got a man who's been trained well. But a lot of them are raised by wolves. They're like feral. You gotta like house train them. I had a fellow yesterday tell me house train, because a lady asked me my point of views about interracial dating. I said, listen, dating a man from another race is not going to guarantee you him treating you better. That's why our community's where it is, because of those people's ancestors did what they did. But if I was to date someone out my race, I would require them to go get a associate or a master's degree in Black history. I ain't teaching you nothing. I need you to invest in my culture, to know that I'm not your culture as much as important as my culture. You need to house train these Negro, these Negroes. And then a Black man out of the blue was like, house train? I was like, yeah, you got to house train these. If you date out your race, you got to house train your guy to not say microaggressive stuff. You need to train him to tell his family not to say something stupid, because you're not the one. And so I say this to say, for you, you're going to need to house train these dudes that date you, depending on who they dated prior to you. You need to be comfortable to tell, hey, listen, think of yourself like a dominatrix. If you're a goddess, you're going to attract men who are gentlemen. And gentlemen, they like a woman who's fiery and keeps them on their toes. They're going to lose interest in you if you're very like accommodable and understanding. They're the one who's supposed to be the understanding in the relationship, not you. And if you do that, if you play that position, they're going to be like, what am I useful for? Because that's the position they want to play. And they're going to slowly, like the connection slowly going to wither away, because there's no polarity, and so they're going to find somebody else. They might ghost you, depending on his maturity. So tell him what type of flowers you like. Tell him how you want the date to go. You want a car service, you want to meet up, whatever it is. And then if they don't deliver, it's up to you to decide you want to fall through in the date and just not call him late, not pursue it afterwards. Or you can say, I'm disappointed and I don't think we're compatible, and I think it's best to respect our each other's time, that we don't even go into this dinner reservation, because it's not going to work. So that's just up to you to think about, like, how extreme you want to be.
Okay. And Shameless, how do we be fiery, fun, and keep a man on his toes? How do we do this? Can you give us some
When
examples?
you think of, if something pisses you off or irritates you, tell them up front. You don't wait. Like, there's someone in my life that called me a girl. I'm like, please don't call me a girl. That's like calling a Black man a boy. And so I kind of tested the fella in my life today. I was being a little bit, what's the word, naughty. I don't know. I get like that sometimes. And I was just trying to see, like, if he studied our business. So I said, you call me a girl, not to him, but to someone else. It's like calling a Black man a boy. And he's like, yeah, that's right. Da, 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 da. And I was like, okay, bet, let's see if you really be about that. I was like, I don't know how I said it, but I called him a boy, not in like a disrespect, but I called him a boy. He's like, I'm not a boy, I'm a man. But he did it in a way where it was assertive and not rude. But he knew I was testing him. So if someone slights you, the way you keep a man on his toe is if he slights you innocently, like if he calls you honey and you don't like people calling you honey because it comes off patronizing, you'd be like, I don't like when people call me honey. That's how you keep a man on your toes. As soon as you feel the disrespect or you don't like how they're doing it, you catch him in lifetime, unless he's in front of people. Then you wait and you take him aside, or you confront him in the car where he doesn't have an audience, so you don't feel like you're emasculating him in front of people. But to keep a man on your toes is if you feel disrespected innocently, or he's purposely doing it, you let him know you don't like it.
Okay, cool. What are some other ways?
The other ways is being demanding.
Can you show us
Require
how?
like if you want, once you get comfortable with him and you don't think he's a weirdo, have him drive you to places. Ask him to take you to your doctor's appointment. Like, back in the day when you had a boyfriend in elementary school, you like, he mowed the lawn for his dad and for your dad to take you guys out for ice cream. You put him for some work, you inconvenience him. So, you can say, I don't know what's going on. Do you know how to change oil? And be like, yeah. And he's looking at you like, where is this going? Start giving him random stuff to do, to the point where he's whining about how you always ask him to do stuff. But at the same time, he loves it at the same time because he feels useful. So that's how you become demanding. You start requiring him to invest his time. The more a man invests in his time, you're subconsciously programming him that you are valuable. and that it's going to get to the point where he's going to want to be exclusive because of all how much time he's committed into you, invested into you.
This is great.
I remember I had an Airbnb guest like around 2017. This white lady, she was annoying the goodness out of me. Anyways, she got in a car accident or something happened with her car, so her boyfriend was driving her around everywhere, and she's like, her boyfriend was driving her to get her eyelashes done. She was very entitled. So men love it though because he has something to do. So don't feel like you're being a burden. Don't feel like you're being a burden. Be demanding by like requiring his presence a lot of times for every little thing. That's one way. Another way to be demanding is like, you can, you don't have to be married for him to pay your bills. You have to make that decision. Like, when do you feel is appropriate for you to start asking him for money?
That's what I need help with. Yeah. Can you help? Yeah, I have no idea what that looks like. Obviously, like you said, I know it won't be like tailor made to me, but like, what would that timeline look like with money and
Well,
gifts?
I don't believe in boyfriend girlfriend, but if you decide to be a boyfriend girlfriend for a period, I would say that would be a time when you're exclusive. But if he wants to, if after your third date, I think like he should start offering to give you money. So first, you warm him up by giving you flowers, training him to get you flowers every week. As long as you guys are in the dating process, he buys you flowers once a week. You go out on a date once a week, no more than twice a week. And if he wants more, he needs to he needs to make it official. So just like if you like the sample, you can't keep on eating the samples. You need to buy the product that's perfectly located right to the right of me. Here are all the ingredients to make your own samples at home. Right? So, the first few dates is a sample, and if he wants more of some samples, you need to buy it. So then you can talk about, your however your amount is your rent. Again, that would assume that you're dating men that can afford a woman that's five who he can afford to give a woman $5,000. I don't know how much your rent is, but the
Well,
woman that I shared in the group, her rent is 3,000 or something, and let's add a buffer of another 1,500 for other bills, so that's a total of 5 grand. So if you don't have a man who can give you 5 G's, that's the first step, is like you gotta find men who can afford to give you, that has a discriminative income to give you $60,000 a year, which is, not to say you would date a guy for a whole year, but he has a budget to give a woman 5,000 a month. If that's what is what you need to pay all your bills. I don't know how much your bills are, but whatever your bills are, you make sure you're dating men who can afford it, unless you're okay with a man who can take care of you.
Well, I know I have to make the like decision. We talked about decision, and it's in the magnetic heart. Like, I'm only going to date men that can afford to give me $5,000 a month. Because honestly, that's
Yeah, or if they can't afford 5,000, they need to be able to, like, have a house where, you don't have to pay rent. But then you would need to be married because you're not gonna go habitate. So they have to be able to pay your expenses.
and for point of view, shameless. I don't want to do boyfriend girlfriend. That's not my thing either. So I want to date for marriage. So like when you're giving advice, I'm not into boyfriend girlfriend either. Just so you know.
Okay, because I also want to discern that what I want, I'm not judging other people because they have different values. Okay, so that's awesome. That's awesome.
So if we were
Yeah,
dating like that, go on.
so that's what you would do. So first, you need to make sure you're dating men of means if you want a man to give you money. But if you don't mind that, which I do think you mind, because
I
you
also
know,
mind.
I was expecting you to talk because I know your energy, Belinda. Like, you busy. Yes, I I was waiting. I was like, Melania's gonna step in 5, 4, 3, 2,
No
1.
poverty song. Poverty
I
makes me
literally,
itch.
she's like, poverty makes me itch. That cracked me up. Woo, I like that one. Poverty makes me itch. That's funny. But yeah, poverty makes me itch. You cracked me up because I was like, Melania's kind of quiet because this is usually her bag. This is usually when her eyes open up a little bit. She's like, huh? Because we can be talking about business. You're like, oh, this is great, ladies. Love it, love it, love it. But as soon as we start talking about hypergamy, I did all that. Can we go back and
He's like,
expound on
is
this?
this mic on? Is this mic on?
Wow. Yeah. Mm-mm.
You're so funny. I literally, it was so like instinctual. I was like, there's Melena. Boom. I'm going to expound on that too.
I just want to make sure you guys know.
Yeah, she's like, for going forth shameless. I don't want to be nobody's girlfriend. I'm like, great. So now we can be direct. I don't got to be doing all these disclaimers. What I would do, I'm not judging you. I'm just saying so now I don't got to do that because that's what I got to do on TikTok because there's so many people are coming from different levels. But anyways, so now you have the burden of the responsibility. Now your basic your cost for entrance is he must have discretional income of $5,000 a month.
Ooh, let me put that on my love list. Hold up. That's a nice detail. Oh, you didn't have to stop talking. I'm just texting it to myself.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad. You know, I'm literal. But yeah, so 5,000 a month. So that's gonna be hard for some of you. If you like he's really good, but you gotta be really certain. So like you don't need to know how much he makes because he might live at home and his parents passed him down property, so his expenses are low. You don't care how he got, but as long as he can give you 5G, that's all it matters. You'll worry about the other stuff when he's talking about marriage. Then you start doing the discoveries and learning about assets. But if he can't give you $5,000 a month because you're a grown woman with responsibilities and he's here to make your life easier, because there are some men who don't mind doing that for their girlfriend or wife, but they don't want to do that for ladies that they're in a dating stage. So those men are okay to believe that because that's their choice, but they're not for you. So you need to be okay with the man that, regardless, any woman that's in his life, he's there to make it easier for them. So don't worry about how that you're going to implement that, but just add that as your bare minimum. Can you give me $5,000 or whatever it costs to maintain my rent? You know, whatever it takes for you to just, you know, do this, because your energy is going to be so yummy for that man. Can you imagine a man give you 5Gs or say whatever say, you know, to take care of yourself is $3,000. Imagine a man give you $3,000, right? You're going to be so like at ease. So now you're going to work and that money is just your fun money. You don't think it's going to make it easier for you to listen to what he has to say? You know,
it'll be a breeze.
It'll be a breeze. And even if he's annoying you, you're going to be like, you're going to give him more grace. You're like, this man really likes me. You know, it's real easy to say, I like you.
You're so cute.
But yeah, like, you're so cute when you say that. You know, it's just like you just tolerate him a little bit more. You're like, dang, what happened? It's like the money is what happened, you know. So so you get a man that makes it, and don't be. And I think I came across the Universal Guru. She says something to the fact, don't let people guilt you about being materialistic. She's like, unless you want to talk about some invisible blob in the universe that you can't see, we live in a materialistic world where you got to have materials, you know, to get by. So, you know, really do the shadow work and not shame yourself for wanting what you want. Because that's what's going to happen when men can't qualify. They're going to try to cast doubt in you. Oh, so you are materialistic, so you're like a gold digger, huh? And be like, well, unfortunately, I'm just a product of my society, and just go about your business. Like, do whatever you can to prepare for men who can't afford you. Instead of them getting their weight up, they're going to try to get you to discount yourself. Now, after you clarified how much money you need for a man, for you to allow a man have more access to you, the way to keep him on your toes is, don't be a people pleaser. If he pisses you off, you do it assertively without being aggressive. Let him know that you don't allow things slide. If he's at his family member's house and they say something silly, be assertive, and and let him know what's up, right? The other thing too is be unpredictable. Like, don't be all available, which is why I said no more than 2 days. For me, I'm only going to see a guy once a week. If he wants more, he needs to marry me. My goal isn't to lollygag. I'm trying to get married as quickly as possible. I want him to feel frustrated. I even said that in my live. The guy said, if you're a 20-year, I don't think, I told that, I was like, listen, if you're 25 years or older, I'm telling you, you should take more than a year. And with me, and I ain't waiting no year for no dude. And I literally said that you literally need to be like unapologetic. Like, I ain't waiting X amount of months. This is the maximum I'm gonna wait. These men need to know. And then also, if he doesn't give you flowers, you need to tell him you're disappointed. Remember, this is a consensual thing. It's free will. You're not twisting this man's arm behind his back to date you. So you can't feel guilty for saying what you want out of a man, because if you don't like the terms, you can go find somebody else. We all know there's enough black women that don't want that much, that they can go find. So just keep that in mind. If he slips, he gets comfortable, remove access, call it out. If he's late to a date, say, you know what, I noticed you are 10 minutes late. And what I'm used to is, if you are 10 minutes late, you're going to be 10 minutes late. Because obviously what I want you is to communicate with me and text me and let me know, because that lets me know you value my time and you respect me. And if they do it the second time, there won't be another time. So that's how you keep men on their toes, because they'll test you. Now, do you have any, let me see the private, what are the calling and texting habits for a week, like waiting to reply text? So the first text that a guy gives you, you wait ideally 4 hours for the first text, and then afterwards, you don't reply immediately. So you don't. So for the first text, it's 4 hours, and then it's shorter the younger you are. But if you're an older woman, you have a life, so 4 hours, and then after that, you can reply an hour, and then switch it up to 15 minutes, so he doesn't think you're like doing this predictable game playing. If you're busy, you shouldn't be like respond to text messages that quickly anyways, right? He's not your man, so he has to earn for him to be a priority to you. Okay. Now, if it's me, I don't want to encourage a guy to be texting me too much. I want texting for be the logistics. So again, keeping a man on your toes, telling me like, oh, I think it's so thoughtful that you thought about me, but I'm not really a texter. And I'm excited to see you on Thursday. Bye. And then when y'all get married, then now all of a sudden you love texting, but he don't need to know that. Or you can be like, I don't really like texting until I'm usually like I'm really in a committed relationship. But in the beginning, I feel it spoils the date, because then we don't have much to talk about. It depends however way you want to talk about it, but don't encourage man to text you, because it can make you feel like y'all closer than you actually are when you text too much. So the first text 4 hours, and then after that an hour, then 15 minutes, and then 5 minutes. Switch it up. But I wouldn't be texting all day. Like for me, I would allow 2 texts a day, and I wouldn't respond to texts unless it's about logistics. And if he says, "Oh, I text you this," you're like, I really prefer a call, and I'm not a text person. Like when I get married, whoever I get married to, like he's going to be my priority. I'm going to make an effort to like staying connected, but as we're getting to know each other, that's like a lot for me. You know, like you gotta let these men know, like you gotta work without telling them they gotta work. You need them, they need to work for them to, because when you respond to someone's text explaining that, that makes them a priority, which is what happens when men start, you know, drifting off, because for whatever reason, women kind of get how would I say this, clingy, and it's hard for them to disconnect because they're doing too much. So let me go back to your post to see what other questions you had. Let's see. You said, how often should you go on dates? So that's 1 to 2 weeks, no more than 2 weeks. If more, he needs to marry you. What about how should the dates look like? So so depending on how high maintenance you want to be, it could be a nice restaurant. If you want to worry about, you know, being affordable, then you can do, or you can tell him what type of cuisine you're looking for, and see if he's a man of authority, and can create a date, because that's a man's job to make a romantic. His job is to impress you. So how the date look like, your expectation could be a fine cuisine, or, you know, outing, a fine cuisine outing. Your first date shouldn't be more than 2 hours. You know, again, you want men to like earn your energy. So I don't know, if I'm not sure I like this guy, I don't want to be stuck with him for 4 hours. So the first date should be 2 hours or less, and then as you go on more dates, it can be longer after you confirmed y'all have rapport. You should talk on the phone no more than an hour, and you should leave the call first. So you should assess, like, when it starts getting to the point where you don't know what to say, you want to leave the phone call with the man wanting more. So your instinctual thing, you'll be like, oh, I want to talk to him on the phone all day, and I see it on the TikTok. I'll be like, oh, we talked on the phone for 6 hours and we've been inseparable. Okay, cool. But if you want to get married quickly, you want him to be excited for your call. You'll be shocked, because I did that once where I went against these bylaws, and you'll be surprised how quickly men will be. You'll be the man's favorite person, and they're really digging you, but then they get bored. So you want to be on the phone no more. So if you start feeling the call being dead, learn the pace of your relationship with that person. So for me, the first call, I would do it no more than 15 minutes. So if he calls you and you happen to be available, answer the phone. But let the phone go to the voicemail sometimes, but don't give him a call back. If he really wants to talk to you, he'll call you back. Now, if you really want to be a goddess and you want a man to kiss the ground you walk on, you need to do the things that's going to attract a man to pursue you. Now, if you don't like doing that, and you don't call it playing games, remember, like, life is a game and you want to play to win, but it makes sense. So if you have a life going on, you got your business, you got your job, you're technically not playing games. If you're really doing your job, you don't got time to be on the phone with somebody all darn day. Like, I couldn't be on the phone if I was doing my live. Like, I have stuff to do. So let me go back, because you might have comments. I'm just in the group to see what your questions are. Let me go back. um I thought he needs to work. I thought you were about to tell us you had a problem sleeping while driving. I do have a problem sleeping while driving, which is what happened was I went to the grocery store and I felt a little bit drowsy. And so I was like, let me just take a little nap and I'll wake up around 2 or 3. Then it became 6 in the morning. Then I was like, let me just do a little live stream. It's gonna be an hour and I'm gonna go home. I literally got like a half full tank of gas, and now my gas is empty again because I have a luxury rental car. So I left the car on while I'm in the parking lot for the heater. So I did the live stream around 7ish or 6ish in the morning, and then it went on like it did, and so I've been in my car since it's all my yeah. Anyways, I'm just getting caught up with the question. So Flying wrote, what are the calling and texting habits for the week? Like waiting to reply text, when to call back, and how. You don't call back. You don't call back. And if you don't believe me, there's this dating coach on YouTube. I can't remember his name. He's a white man and he's married, and he said his wife never called him. when they're dating. And she's like, yeah, like when I asked my wife about it, she's like, yeah, I always knew, like, if you want to speak to me, you will call me. So she's like, I know, she said, I know you want to speak to me when you call me. So you never have to call a man back unless you're doing logistics for a date and you're tired of playing text message tag or something. But you never call a man back while you're in the courtship process. He should call you back if he really likes you. Now, if you're not, if he keeps on missing your calls, like, that's something this. But I'm saying this is coming from a standpoint. He calls you and you accepted one of his calls, but for whatever reason, he all the time he calls, you can't get a hold of him, or all the times he calls you're not available. Then you would call him back,
I have a
because a man
question
is
about
only going to keep. Go ahead.
I have a question about this. Okay, so that's my rule as well. Like, I never call the man. But then what if he doesn't call you? And then, so in my situation, he wouldn't call me, but he would use the excuse, well, you don't call me.
Well, who wants to be the masculine energy in here? That's the question.
Mm-hmm. So what do we
So I would
do?
say
Mm-hmm.
you would tell him, like, listen, I want to be in my feminine in this dynamic, and I want to know when you want to talk to me, you call me. And if he calls you and all the time he calls you, you're not available, then obviously you would give him a call back, right? I'm coming from the point that he calls you and you answer, like, you're available at that
Yeah.
time, right? So he has opportunities where he gets a hold of you, right?
Right.
But I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking about in the event that you're in your writer's mode and you're like, you put your phone on do not disturb or whatever, and so all three attempts or two attempts he calls you, you're not available. In that instant, you would call him back. But if you're really about your business and you're like a purist goddess, you didn't have any other some siren archetype
Mm-hmm.
to combine, it will be no matter the excuse, he
Mm-hmm.
will keep on trying to get a hold of the goddess, because a goddess is hard to get. You're
So,
not supposed, that's
mhm.
the appeal. You're not supposed
so
to be
when
available.
so when he lets 2 days go by, what's the reaction? Just let him go? Or do you
Yeah, let
say
him
something
go.
back to
Let him
them?
go.
Next, next caller.
Yeah, he doesn't matter. Yeah, especially if he's not your man. You
Got you.
don't put any effort if he's not your man, unless you see that flyer or that service announcement that says 1988 to 2023. Otherwise he should be up and able or something. I don't know.
So you
So
don't say
uh
anything at all. You just ghost.
you're not ghosting. That's his job.
I'm saying, okay, so he was calling, right, every day, and
Hmm.
then he
Hmm.
stops for 48 hours, right? Or
Right,
20.
right, right. That's what I'm saying. He's not ghosting. That's his job. He's a pursuer.
Right, but you're saying, I'm trying to be clear. So if he doesn't call, then like he gets out of his pattern. He doesn't call for a day or he doesn't call for 2 days. What do we communicate in response to that?
Nothing.
Okay, so
And
you're
that's support.
mhm,
And that's supported by Hendrix something, that guy who wrote Women Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Mars.
mhm,
Men go through a rubber band period when they get
mhm.
really close. Some men, they recoil and they want to get around men energy. So everything can be going great and he can take like a few days. Debbie, Dr. Pat Allen, the author of Getting to I Do, she says if a man doesn't reach out to you after 3 months, just know that the relationship is over. But usually when a man gets really um builds a connection with you, like
Mhm.
they kind of want to record. It doesn't make sense to us, but we're women. But you have up to 3 months. A man can just come out and your job isn't to nag and be like, where were you? It's nice to see you, stranger. Like, you're not supposed to do that, because like it doesn't make sense. But that's the male nature, is like some of them, not all, but some of them, everything's going great and out of the blue you don't hear from them today, because they're testing you. They're trying to see if you're one of those. If you're
Mhm.
They're trying to see like how needy you are. So if you don't hear from him and he's consistent and out of the blue 2 days, maintain, be the feminine, lean back, don't move forward, because when you're trying to close the gap, you're not going to be the polarity. So, don't do anything.
Okay,
Now,
but
when
you
he
still
does
give
come,
me. Mm-hmm. I'm
but when he
listening.
comes back, don't penalize him.
Okay.
Don't penalize him. But if it bogs you that, because he's not your man, he doesn't owe you anything. At any time in the courtship process, y'all can all fall out and there's no repercussions, which is why I want you to do the bare minimum. So in the event that that happens, you're not butthurt. You don't take it personal, because the odds are it's going to happen more than months, because you can only marry one person. So when he comes back, you can just be very warm and be
Mhm.
like, it's great to see you. Because when he's your husband, then that's a different advice. Your husband, this is your man, and be like, I understand, you got stuff, you might want to be with you guys to get your head clear, but I would appreciate you communicate with me that you just, you're everything's fine, but you just need some alone time. That's wife privilege. But you're not even his girlfriend, because we're not doing that. So he doesn't owe you anything. So when he comes back, you just be very fun, and let him feel like you are having a great life, like you've been all about. And he might be shocked, because he might be used to ladies like be like, where were you, or it's nice to see you, stranger. You're like, oh, Jacob, oh my gosh, okay, oh, you got flowers, okay, it's nice to see you. And he's gonna be like, what? Yeah, just be fun.
Okay, so about the pacing, like, okay, so he comes back after 48 hours. It's all good. But then I guess I get cloudy here because to me that means he's not really in full effort, you know? Like, shouldn't
Well,
he be
technically,
amping up his efforts after he comes back from his rubber band or whatever?
the thing about it is, like, for example, if you don't want a man texting you every day, because that's like
Hmm.
really hard to sustain.
Yeah.
You want someone that has like a slow burn. Remember, like, long as he takes you out at least once a day, like that's enough. Like, that other stuff is for boyfriends, which is why I don't want you ladies to get like hooked to it. But if he takes a recoil time and he comes back, it's not for you to think he doesn't like you. Actually, it's a good sign, because he's taking time. Like, a man feels good with you in his presence, but he falls in love in your absence.
Okay.
So he falls in love with your absence, in the sense that that's a time where he can get that little haze, that he's sober now. So then he can be like, do I really like her? Do I want to take it to the next level? Right. It's actually a good sign, letting you know you're accelerating through the stages of courtship. So very soon, the next, he's going to probably prompt you about exclusivity, and then you can tell him what you consider exclusivity, which is marriage, right?
Hmm.
So when he does that, that's a good sign. It's not that it's low effort. It's low effort if they never come back.
Okay. So, but the standard is at least one date per week. He should be
Yeah,
initiating.
minimum 1 date per week, right? And if they don't want to take you 1 day per week, maybe you're not a high priority. They got other ladies going, or he has work, or he's not emotionally available. If he's not available to get to know you once a week, like, then you need to keep that in mind. So if another fella comes in, don't feel like you're required to make time for him.
Yeah.
So he should make time at least once a week. Now, you keep that in mind. If you logistics, the day he's available, you're not available, that's something else. So then maybe it's not every week because of logistics, but once a week, and then no more than twice a week. If he wants more than that, then he needs to, put a ring on it. But if he doesn't have once a week, then I would not consider him emotionally on the same page of being ready to settle down,
Okay.
because you're looking for somebody who's ready to settle down. He's not a bad person, but he might have some emotional unavailability, such as, not balancing like work and personal life. He might have too much time for work and not enough time for love. And once a week isn't too much. An hour out a week, are you serious?
Yeah. Thank you. Um, it's getting time, so I'm gonna wrap it up. But this is great. I want to talk about um like conversations again when we start in December, and then
Yes.
how to continue to be rather ravishing and like unforgettable. Like how to continue to present ourselves in the goddess archetype with the whole package. Just like, yeah.
Okay, that's fair, and that's fair. Now let me catch up with Feline's question. How do we make them work without being obvious? How do we not be too needy, do too much, and now we want, not no, we want the goddess games. So accept him when he comes back after 2 days. What about 4 days? Accept him back if he comes back a week. Like he's not your man. Like I said, he can take up to 3 months. After 3 months, it's fair to say he doesn't like you like that. But that's a normal part of the dating process. Some men need a lot of time, some men need a little time. But again, if you're not doing the girlfriend boyfriend stage, like y'all don't owe each other anything. So like, to be honest with you, technically long as he's available to take you out once a week, he doesn't need to text check in with you and text you and ask you how your day. He could literally like maybe just check in the day before just to make sure we're still on. But that's about it. That's all a man is required to do to like get to know you. But him, like, being consistent, like every if he goes off the face of the earth for 2 weeks and comes back, he's not your man, so you can't like scold him, but you keep that in the back of your mind, like, okay, so when he does disclose, like, okay, I want to be exclusive, you say, well, exclusivity means marriage, and I think we should just continue dating, getting to know each other, and what we do when we're not together, that's each other's business. And he's going to be like taken aback, because a lot of Black women don't do that. A lot of Black women are quick to be in a boyfriend girlfriend relationship. So once he realized like you're different, he's gonna realize like you're not impeding his freedom, because he's not your man, you're not his lady. So to make sure you're not giving away too much, you match his energy. So you only answer the call when he calls you. So now you know you're not giving too much. If he keeps on calling you and he misses out on due to logistics, then you can call him maybe once, but don't make it a habit. Always call him back, right? He should be calling you more than you call him. And then also, have him give you flowers, right? If when you have a man give more than you give, like that's a good thing. So in the event that the relationship fizzles out, you can have like a positive view of that situation, because you can be like, I got several weeks of flowers, I went to these top restaurants, I went to this exhibit, I had a great conversation, I was around these type of people, I went to this like concert or whatever. Like you want to have like a positive energy with men, and the only way that you can do that is to plan beforehand how much you're willing to give during dating the dating stage. And I recommend you don't give a lot. I recommend you don't give a lot. Any more questions, ladies? Because we are at 2:39, and keep in mind, you can always post your questions in the group, and if you have any sales copy, to get it to me by Thursday, and so I can get back to you. Like if you have stuff that you want, just between you and I, you can do all that in the chat features until Thursday. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, this was very demystifying.
This was amazing.
I probably heard it before, but it just clicked in my brain today.
Yeah, this was a really great answering of a lot of stuff I had been like, about. So thanks, Shameless, again. Appreciate
That's awesome. And I think, to be honest, the more crystal clear you get, I feel serendipitous you will attract a guy, because in your brain you have already processed the what if scenarios, and that you're prepared for each scenarios, and then your heart will be open, and the guy will come. Because I feel maybe the delay in the fella coming is like your subconscious is kind of concerned of what happens. Are you going to be prepared for that situation? So I feel too, doing this is also in alignment with you meeting your person.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
All right, like, is there any final notes before we reconvene tomorrow?
Only because we're over time, I'm like, I'm gonna be quiet. I'll put my questions in the group. I got more.
Okay. No, but seriously, if you have something, we can talk about it.
Well, you're the one who just said the time, Shameless. It seems like you're busy. You have time to talk?
Well, I can do another 5 minutes.
Okay, then so the question that I had, the last one I had left was like, can you in 5 minutes talk about what day one is gonna look like versus day two versus five versus 10? Like what should the difference of those dates and like the situation in those? Does that make sense? Like what's the difference?
So
Like how
yeah, so date one is the date one is just to confirm if y'all jiving. It's like the goal of date one is to have date two. So the first date is just to take this off online or from the grocery store and just confirm if y'all chemistry. So it's not even really what the questions are being asked. You're listening to what they're saying, but you're really just going on how your body feels. Can you see yourself having sex with them down the line? Can do you like his voice? Does his laugh annoy the goodness out of you? Like, it's just kind of like just trying to vibe each other out. So then that should be no more than an hour. So you can find like a cute like boutique coffee shop, or like go to a juice bar and go to a nice scenery where it's a low stakes, like Lake Merritt. You go find like a cute boutique like coffee place, and then go to Lake Merritt and just like walk and get to know each other. So it's like low stakes, because the goal is just to get a second date, right? So then once that happens, the second date, you like the person's energy, so you don't feel it's going to be a dud if you eat with them. Because when you eat, you got different entrees, so that might be an hour or two. You get the meal, and then another hour talking. So the second date should be like 2 hours, 2 hour date, no more than 2 hours. Because again, you want to leave him more. So the first date, no more than an hour. Have somebody call you, have an event, like have a Pilates class scheduled an hour later or like 2 hours from that. So you need to leave an hour so you get another hour to go to things. Make the conditions that you gotta go, because you're going to be seduced and be like, oh my gosh, he's so yummy. I could talk to all day. No, the goal is for him to marry you as quickly as possible. So if he gets everything that he wants now, he's not going to he's it's going to delay him committing the marriage that you want. So no more than an hour. If he's like, no, really, I want to talk to you, and they'd be like, that's what you want to have him in your palms, right, looking excited to date you. And then the next date, this 2 hour date, that's a dinner. So the first one is like what do you call it, a natural attraction when you're walking and you getting a vibe, but something where it's like low stakes. So if it's like a dud and it's a dry conversation, you don't got 2 meals and to worry about canceling. It's like, okay, the drink is over, gotta go. First date, low stakes. Second date, dinner, no more than 2 hours. Then the third date, you can decide if you want to spend 4 hours with them, like a half day getting to know them. Mind you, no more than 2 dates a week, but for me, I only do one date a week. So if I did one day a week, the first day get to know each other, second date have a dinner 2 hours, and the third day, that's 3 weeks, right? So like I'm building like rapport. By the time you get to day 5, he is thinking about if he can see marrying yourself, if you're really doing this correctly, and you're not talking his ear off and trauma dumping. So you're not talking about your family stuff. You're not talking about anything heavy. It's all about like him getting to know your energy and what you're into, what your goals are, but nothing deep that a therapist will listen to, right? He doesn't gain access to that until he has shared that he wants to start the process and decide if y'all are compatible for marriage. Now, what that means is like y'all, you might start like doing background checks on each other. Doesn't mean you get married the next day, but you start doing the process where you consider him a contender. At that point, then you can start talking about like deep stuff. But until then, he hasn't committed. So from date one, low stakes. So each date, you give him a little bit more access to you, but it's a slow burn.
Thanks, Shameless.
All right. right, Milena for Lion. So again, we can put something in the comments, and then tomorrow we'll meet at the same time. We met a little bit later because I needed a buffer because my live went a little bit longer than I expected. But we'll meet at normal time tomorrow. Okay, ladies?
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
you. See
See
you
you.
Have a
tomorrow.
good one.
You
Bye.
too.
Bye.